This is a story about how one single voice note, just 2 minutes and 45 seconds of audio, set the whole of Lagos on fire, brought a tech billionaire to his knees, and delivered a type of karma that nobody saw coming. They say Lagos is a city where you wake up as a tenant and sleep as a landlord, or you wake up as a big boy and sleep inside a police cell. But for Toby, Lagos was a battlefield. Toby was a 26-year-old content creator and video editor living in a small face me, I face you apartment in Bariga. If you know Bariga, you know the vibe. The walls of Toby's room were so thin that if his neighbor upstairs was cooking, Toby would be sneezing. From the pepper down in his room, Toby had what Lagosians call ideas. His brain was a factory of creative thoughts. He could sit down and script a viral video concept in 10 minutes. But he had one big problem. He was broke. Not just ordinary broke. Toby was financially paralyzed. Even his second-hand laptop gasped for breath and made a generator sound whenever he tried to render a video. Toby had a childhood friend named Femi. Femi was the kind of guy who didn't have any talent of his own, but he had what we call street sense and a very thick skin for wickedness. Femi knew how to look good on a budget. He would buy thrift clothes from Yaba Market, iron them until the lines could cut bread. Use his last 5,000 naira to buy cheap perfume and walk into high-end cafes in Lekki like he owned the building. For 3 years, Toby and Femi worked as a team. Toby was the brain, Femi was the face. Toby would sit in his hot, sweaty room in Bariga, writing tech startup ideas, branding strategies, and marketing campaigns. Femi would take these ideas, dress up in his ironed clothes, go to the island, and pitch them to tech founders and investors. They had a pact, a blood brotherhood agreement. Toby, my guy, Femi would say, slapping Toby on the back, while sipping a cold bottle of beer that Toby paid for. Don't worry about the suffering now. We are building an empire. Once one of these tech companies buys our ideas, we are splitting everything 50-50. Island life is waiting for us, man. Just keep cooking the content. And Toby believed him. Because when you are desperate, you treat every promise like a life jacket, even if the person offering it is standing in the middle of a shallow pool. Then came the year of the big break. Toby spent 4 months sleepless, living on cheap noodles and black coffee, creating a complete blueprint for a social crypto application called Koboshari. It wasn't just a basic app. It was designed specifically for the African market, allowing market women and daily earners to save and trade fractionized digital assets without needing a formal bank account. It was brilliant. Toby wrote the user interface flow, the marketing strategy, the launch videos, everything. Femi took the pitch deck to an angel investor summit at a 5-star hotel in Victoria Island. A major venture capital firm fell in love with it. They didn't just like it. They funded it with $300,000. for the seed round. The day the contract was signed, Femi didn't return to Bariga. Toby sat in his room, waiting. 1 day passed. 2 days passed. On the third day, Toby called Femi's phone. It rang, but it was busy. Toby sent a WhatsApp message. 1 check mark. 2 check marks. No blue ticks. Femi had muted him. A week later, Toby opened Instagram. The first thing on his Explore page was a video of Femi. Femi was wearing a designer white linen outfit, standing on the balcony of a luxury 3-bedroom apartment in Lekki Phase 1, overlooking the ocean. He was holding a glass of champagne, laughing with the biggest tech influencers in Nigeria. The caption read, CEO of Koboshare. Out of the trenches. Hard work pays off. God did. Toby's heart did a triple backflip. He felt a cold sweat break out on his forehead. He quickly grabbed his keys and rushed to the island. He spent 2 hours in a yellow commercial bus, Danfo, squeezed between a woman selling smoked fish and a man arguing about politics just to get to Femi's new office in Lekki. When he arrived, the security guards at the gate stopped him. "Who are you here to see?" the guard asked, looking at Toby's dusty sneakers and faded jeans. "I'm here to see Femi the CEO. We are partners," Toby said, his voice shaking. The guard made a call. After 5 minutes, a young lady in a sharp corporate suit walked out. She looked at Toby with pity in her eyes. "Are you Toby?" she asked. "Yes." "Tell Femi I'm outside." She handed him a brown envelope. "Mr. Femi is very busy. In a board meeting. He said I should give you this. It's a termination and settlement token for your freelance contribution to the pitch deck. There is a check of 500,000 naira inside. He also said you should please stop calling his personal line, as it has been reassigned for corporate security. 500,000 naira. For an idea that secured a $300,000 funding round. For 4 months of starvation. For 3 years of brotherhood. Toby stood under the hot Lekki sun, the envelope in his hand, feeling like a block of ice. He looked up at the glass building with the Kobosha logo boldly displayed on the front. He realized the bitter truth. Femi had registered the company solely under his own name. Toby had no legal leg to stand on, because every email, every document, and every pitch had been sent through Femi's official profiles. He had been completely, beautifully, and cleanly wiped out. Toby went back to Bariga. He didn't cry. He didn't shout. He just sat on his mattress for 3 days, looking at the ceiling. The 500,000 naira check was sitting on his shaky wooden table. To a broke boy, 500,000 naira is a lot of money. But to a man who had just been robbed of his destiny, it was an insult. On the 4th night, Lagos experienced one of those massive rainstorms that makes the whole city look like a swimming pool. The power went out. The room was pitch black, lit only by the occasional flash of lightning through the window. Toby pulled out his phone. His battery was at 12%. He opened WhatsApp. He went to his chat with Femi, the old chat from months ago, when they were still cool. He pressed the microphone icon. He didn't plan what he was going to say. He just let the pain, the betrayal, the shame, and the raw anger take over his voice. He recorded a voice note. It wasn't a standard "God will judge you" speech. It was a rhythmic, almost haunting breakdown of how Femi stole the code, how Femi used to borrow underwear from him when they went for auditions, how Femi had lied to the investors about holding a computer science degree when he actually got expelled from university for fraud, and the exact names of the local politicians Femi was using to launder the initial venture capital funds. Toby spoke with a calm, terrifying precision, naming dates, locations, bank accounts, and secret transactions. Femi, Toby said at the end of the recording, his voice dropping to a whisper that sounded like the wind outside. You think you have climbed the mountain and left me in the dirt, but you forgot that the earth you are standing on belongs to the spirits of the town. You took my brain, you took my sweat, and you gave me a drop of water. Enjoy your palace today, because by the time the sun rises tomorrow, the house you built with my life will become your coffin. Toby didn't send the voice note to Femi. He knew Femi would just delete it. Instead, Toby did something radical. He sent the audio note to a popular anonymous Lagos gossip blog on Twitter and WhatsApp with over 2 million followers. The caption he added was simple: "The true story of Kobo Shere." Look behind the curtain. Then his phone died. The screen went black. Toby closed his eyes and went to sleep, leaving his fate in the hands of the digital gods. My dear viewers, if you know Nigerians on social media, you know that we love a scandal more than we love free money. We eat drama for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. By 6 a.m. the next morning, while Toby was still sleeping, the audio note had escaped the blog. It didn't just walk. It ran. It flew. It exploded. Someone took the audio, added a heavy dark trap beat beneath it, and uploaded it to TikTok with the hashtag #FemiKoboshare. Within 3 hours, the hashtag was trending at #1 in Nigeria, Ghana, and Kenya. People were doing reaction videos. Podcasters were breaking down the audio, clip by clip. Twitter went into an absolute meltdown. Wait, so the tech poster boy of the year is an academic fraud? Did you hear the part where he said Femi laundered money for a politician? The guy's voice in the audio notes sounds like a ghost seeking vengeance. By noon, the investors, who had given Femi $300,000, saw the trend. In the tech world, reputation is everything. If your company is linked to political money laundering and intellectual theft within its first month, you are dead in the water. The venture capital firm immediately issued a public statement. We are aware of the allegations circulating online regarding the leadership of Kobo Shere. We have initiated an internal audit and frozen all disbursed capital, pending a full investigation. Meanwhile, over in Lekki Phase 1, Femi woke up to a ringing phone that wouldn't stop. It was his board of directors. It was his landlord. It was his bank manager. He opened his banking app. Restricted. He opened his Twitter. His account was flooded with thousands of insults and clown emojis. Femi panicked. He jumped into his newly acquired Mercedes-Benz to drive to the office. But as he hit the road, the curse of Lagos traffic caught him. And right there, in the middle of the Lekki-Epe Expressway, people in the cars next to him started looking through their windows, playing the viral audio note at full volume, pointing at him and shouting, "Look at the Kobosha thief. Ole, thief." Now, the shame was not a quiet thing. It was an instant digital execution. The audit took less than 48 hours. Because Toby had named specific bank accounts and dates. In the voice note, the investigators found the fraud easily. Femi had already diverted $50,000 of the seed money into a personal luxury car lease and an offshore account under a fake name. The investors pulled the funding completely, but they didn't want the app to die because the core code and strategy, the part Toby wrote, was still a gold mine. On Friday morning, a sleek black SUV drove into the dusty streets of Bariga. It didn't stop at the main road. It navigated the potholes until it parked right in front of Toby's "Face Me, I Face You" apartment block. The children in the street stopped playing as two white men in tailored suits and a senior Nigerian corporate lawyer stepped out holding leather briefcases. They walked up the creaky stairs and knocked on Toby's door. Toby opened it, holding a mug of tea. "Are you Toby Adebayo?" the lawyer asked, tiptoeing to avoid the peeling paint on the wall. "Yes, I am," Toby said calmly. "We represent the board of investors for Kobo Share. We have reviewed the original documentation and digital footprints provided in your public broadcast. We have verified that you are the sole author of the technology and the entire operational framework. We are here to offer you an official restructuring contract. We are offering you 60% equity in the company, the position of Chief Product Officer, and an immediate relocation allowance to the island. We want to relaunch next month, but we need the brain that built it." Toby looked at the contract. He looked at the fountain pen the lawyer was handing him. He didn't smile. He just nodded. He signed his name on the dotted line. Within 1 week, Toby moved out of Bariga. He didn't buy a flashy car. He didn't make a God-did video on Instagram. He just went to work, sitting in a beautiful office, overlooking the lagoon, doing what he loved most: creating. And what happened to Femi? Femi was not sent to prison because the politicians he was laundering money for used their influence to quash the criminal case, to protect their own names. But in Lagos, sometimes the loss of your reputation is worse than a prison sentence. Femi was completely blacklisted from the tech ecosystem. No investor would look at him. No company would hire him as a consultant. His luxury apartment in Lekki was seized by the landlord because his check bounced. His Mercedes-Benz was repossessed by the car dealer. 6 months later, Toby was sitting in the back seat of his official company car, being driven through Ikeja for a high-level meeting. The car stopped at a traffic light. Toby looked out of the tinted window. There, on the hot asphalt, standing between the moving cars, was Femi. He was holding a pack of cheap power banks and car chargers, trying to sell them to drivers. Under the scorching sun, his clothes were no longer ironed. His knockoff perfume had been replaced by the heavy, sour smell of Lagos sweat and exhaust fumes. He had returned to the trenches, not as a king, but as a ghost. Femi approached Toby's car, tapping on the tinted glass, not knowing who was inside. Oga, buy clean power bank. Original charger. Help your boy. Toby slowly wound down the window just an inch. Enough for Femi to see his eyes. Femi froze. The power bank almost slipped from his hands. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. The shame that washed over Femi's face in that 3-second look was more powerful than any court judgment. Toby didn't insult him. He didn't laugh. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a pristine, crisp $100 bill, passed it through the crack in the window, and wound the glass back up. As the car drove off into the Lagos traffic, Toby looked in the rearview mirror. Femi was standing in the middle of the road, clutching the dollar bill, weeping as the exhaust smoke swallowed him up. My precious viewers, let this be a warning to every smart guy out there who thinks he can use his brother's sweat to build a palace. You can change your location. You can delete your old friends. You can move from Bariga to Lekki. And you can buy all the designer clothes in the world. But you cannot change the law of the harvest. What belongs to the shadow will always stay in the dark. But what is built on the truth will always find its way to the light. Before you leave tonight, drop a comment below. Tell me, if you were Toby, would you have given Femi that $100 at the end, or would you have left him empty-handed in the traffic? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And if you know you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, don't let my ancestors send you a viral voice note tomorrow morning. Hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell, and share this video with someone who needs to hear the gospel of karma. Until next time, keep your hands clean, keep your hustle pure, and remember, karma is watching.